So, what was your take on this week, just as a broad overall before we dive into a specific market?
Well, I knew this week was going to be kind of in my mind, it was going to be a little bit wacky. I knew there were employment reports coming out, and we don't talk about market sentiment or anything much, but there's this whole
Today
thing
is a
about,
great day to start.
yeah, well, market sentiment. It's one of those strange things because I think it's really important because the markets oftentimes just react to a lot of emotion and not always in ways that you think might be a logical way. So this week, there was volatility, and
Yes,
it
there
was coming.
was.
Yeah, and the problem was, I think that, or the issue, I think, was that so we have inflation hovering, right?
Yep.
And then we have
It's the word
employment.
that's on everyone's
Right?
mind.
Right. So employment comes along, and this is one of those cases of the good news, bad news thing. So
Mhm.
the market's like looking at the week and going, okay, we got this employment thing coming. So you would think that a good employment number would make the market happy, but not probably likely. It's more likely that really super strong employment numbers are going to make the market unhappy, because that would mean that inflation is a thing that we have to worry about more than if we have less than stellar employment numbers, because that means less people are out there buying things, and maybe the Fed isn't going to raise rates after all, or maybe they're not going to do anything. So this is a case of good news probably would have been bad for the market, and mediocre news was actually pretty good for the market because
Slightly better than expected meant okay.
yes, exactly. And okay means, well, maybe inflation can be controlled from here, so let's not worry too much
Yeah.
about that, and let's jump back in and buy a bunch of stuff.
Well, yeah, what was funny was it was Thursday morning, I think, where the reason I knew something had happened was because I had seen all the numbers had dropped. I'm like, oh, I need to check the news. And so much of it was just like, oh, there's concerns like Russia's dropping the dollar and, increased tensions with China. And that's why the whole market decided, oh, big sad today. And then today it bounced right back. So, it's on a day-to-day
Yeah,
basis, apparently.
I don't know. I mean, my opinion on the whole thing, the Russian thing, I read quite a few articles about it. My kind of take, I kind of fall into the political movement take because, I mean, that particular fund that they're taking the dollar denominated investments out of, I mean, it's not that big. It's $600 billion of fund, right? They don't have like $1 trillion of US stuff in there. So it's not like
I would
it's going to,
happily take any spare $600 billion you have lying around.
yeah, well, it's just that it's not going to really move the market. I read that and whatever. I mean, that's just kind of like
Hmm.
posturing. And is it really going to move the market? Probably not. I mean, the market is trading in trillions, not, $100 billion of denominated investment. I don't know. So
Right.
I didn't really pay a lot of it. The one thing that
All right.
did
So,
bother, there was one thing that did bother me though,
okay.
and that's that though I'm me, I'm not a fan of crypto, so but
Yeah.
there is the digitization of money,
Right.
which one might make the case is slightly different than crypto. If I just make the analogy, let's say crypto is, let's
Are
say,
you talking about like state-run
yeah,
digital currency?
yes, state-run digital currencies.
Yep.
So China's been heading that way for a while,
Yeah, they've got the yuan.
and Russia's been heading that way for a while.
I'm not as familiar with theirs, but I believe you.
And the U.S. government is toying with it. So what worries me, really, and not today or tomorrow or next year, is that we're not the leader, right? We're not leading in that area. And
Right.
when worldwide economics when it functions better with digital money, um, and we're still stuck, I guess we're out there with our wagon and we're trying to get that wagon wheel off and get a new one on, maybe with rubber tires on it or something, because we're
Hmm.
going to be so far behind. We're not keeping up. And the United States
Right.
needs to step it up or worry about losing leadership. Well, you lose leadership by not being proactive.
We're going to need a whole episode for this, Jim.
I know it. I'm sorry. I just have to throw that out there.